Hey, g'day people, it's Matt here from Matt Carve. So today we're going to dissect the handpiece on the flex shaft. I want to show you what's inside it, how it all works, how much grease you should put into it, or maybe no grease at all. And also I want to show you about the lock button as well. This is a kind of crucial kind of thing and what not to do. And I'm going to show you the result of what happens if you don't do this. It kind of really stuffs it up. But okay, so let's get into it. Let's dissect this handpiece. Okay, so I like to clamp the flex shaft onto the table. It's important not to clamp it too tightly or else you'll crush that flex shaft. Or you can tape it on as well. It's just so that it doesn't fall off the table and drag that handpiece down with it. So take off the collet or your multi-chuck, and then there's that black piece there. Take off that as well. Then take off the spring, and this might take a little bit of effort, but just sort of like work it back and just push it back onto the flex shaft. And we've got two little washers here. Here's one at one end and one at the other end. So essentially the handpiece comes apart in halves, and this is what holds it together tightly. So we're just going to put something sharp in between that and then work that back. And we can also put that onto the flex shaft so we're not going to lose it. And the one at the front is essentially the same, and just put that somewhere safe so you don't lose it as well. And just be aware of what way you have taken it off. So there's a right way and a wrong way to put it on, so you can sort of see the right way there. And then there's those two little screws there, and then we can take it apart. So just ease it apart like that. Often you're going to have that button fall out. That's no big deal, don't worry about that. It's all going to go back together without a problem. Okay, so I get a lot of questions on should you put lubrication into the flex shaft. Well, you can see here that is actually the lubrication from when I first bought it. So I haven't added any lubrication in, and it's come out into the handpiece. But I would actually say that's not enough to actually cause overheating anyway. And plastic is not a great kind of conductor of heat, so I wouldn't say that amount of grease would be a problem. That's the amount of grease on my flex shaft. Yeah, I'll clean that out, but I'm not actually really too worried about that. So when I get overheating, it's usually when you first buy the flex shaft, and I tend to just pull it apart, and there we go. I'm just taking that off the motor, and then I'll just pull the cable out, and I'll simply just get a paper towel and I will just wipe it down. You can see there I'm showing you how much is on there, but it's not much at all, but that's all that's needed on there. And I've had flex shafts last for 5 years. So without any lubrication, so I'm not going to change. I'm just going to carry on with what I'm doing. But if you found a way that works for you, well, you know, just carry on doing that. And you can put them in either way. Both ends have the same kind of square head on them, so you can't really go wrong when you put them back in. Okay, so don't do what I just did just then and put it all the way back in. Leave a little bit out of that cable and then connect it up to that little bolt there, and that'll be a lot easier to line everything up, and then it all goes together again and you're away carving again. Okay, so what you don't want to do with the button which controls the lock on the shaft is to accidentally press it while it's rotating, because what it's going to do is there's a hole in the shaft, and that is going to shear that hole, so it's not going to be so uniform. So the little button that goes into the hole is not going to work as well. So you'll find like this will happen, and you'll be able to stop the shaft, but it will, when you do it up with the spanner, the button will sort of come out a little bit, and you'll see what I mean here. So that's the shaft there, and you can see there it's really sort of like cut up on one side. That side isn't too bad, but this is like a new shaft. I just got this one, so not the actual shaft. I actually got the whole Dremel flex shaft, so you can see there the difference. So that's the button actually working. It has that kind of spring there. I'm not doing a very good job of demonstrating it there, but it works pretty well. I guess it could be improved, but it seems to work okay. Okay, so when it comes putting it back together, I've got two ways. I think the second way is better, I'm not sure. Try them both, see what you think. So this way we are using the bottom of the Dremel, so not the part with the button in it, but the bottom bit. You can see there I'm pointing out these little bits here. And what they relate to, they're kind of like spikes, and they fit into those grooves on the flex shaft. So leave a little bit out of the cable and that threads in, and you'll see I'll push the flex shaft in, and it should line up and sort of like, you'll see it slot into that area there. There it's in there now, and you see it's come out. So just get it in there, and then we'll put the button spring in. That sort of just sits there loosely. And then we've got the button in there, but that's going to fall out. So I put a bit of tape on the top so the button doesn't fall out. It's sort of like, it's probably got a bit of grease on it, so it's not sticking that well. So I've put a bit of tape on there so the button won't fall out. There you go. And so then we just lower it down onto the other half of the handpiece. And it should go together quite well. And if it doesn't, something's sort of like blocking it. You can see there that it hasn't really gone together that well. So I think maybe something's blocking it. Okay, oh yeah, there you go. It was just the cable had sort of slipped out a little bit out of those notches, and now it's gone all the way in. So we can take that blue tape off. I'd just like to test it first before I put it all together. So I just put those washers on each end. And so I'll press down the button, and you can see it's stopping the rotation, so it seems to be working pretty well. Thumbs up. And then it's just a matter of putting things back together the way we took them apart, but in reverse, I guess. And then I'll put in the screws. They're quite fiddly. So, yeah, I think I'll speed this bit up. Okay, so here is the second way of doing it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually do it from the other half of the Dremel piece. So I'm going to put the button in first, and then put all the components on that side in. So there goes the spring and the shaft. Just remember to get those all aligned, those bearings into those little slots, and that little plastic washer. And then, like as before, just line up those little grooves there with that one, and the inner shaft goes through. Pretty much the benefit of this is we've got the button in now, so it can't slip out or anything like that. We don't have to use tape or anything. And then we just put the other half on, and we put it together like we did before. So that's pretty much how to put it back together. Okay, so if you ever need to take apart your handpiece, I hope this video helps, and it's not such a daunting task, and I think the worst thing is getting things back together, but it's, if you take your time, you can probably do it. So I do a lot of other carvings, so if you're new to this channel, you want to check out my carvings as well, I will leave a link to one of my best ones maybe. Yeah, or maybe two of my best ones. Okay, take care everybody.